Hey everyone, this is Sashikant Banwal. Welcome to my channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a B2B sales interview thinking that if I speak confidently, throw in a few sales buzzwords, maybe mention CRM once or twice, interviewer will be impressed? But here is the real deal. After sitting through 100 plus interviews and coaching people to grow their career in B2B sales, I have learned something important. It's not about being the loudest or well-spoken person in the room. Hiring managers are not just looking for who sounds good. They are actually looking for 5 key traits that you can't fake with buzzwords. Today, I'm going to walk you through those 5 traits and share real stories of how people nail their interviews by showing these qualities. If you're preparing for a B2B sales interview, this video could seriously save you time and stress. Let's get started. I remember helping a SaaS company based out of Bangalore with their sales hiring. I was sitting with one of the other interviewers in the interview room at their HSR office. It was 11 a.m. and he asked a simple question to the candidate. Have you worked with sales quotas before? The candidate straightened up and said, yes, in my previous company, I always achieved my sales quota. Now sounds fine, right? But the interviewer leaned towards me and whispered, he says he has achieved the sales quota every month, but I didn't feel it. When we asked the same question to the next candidate, we expected similar kind of answer, but he gave a different answer. In my last job, my job was to close sales of 3 lakhs per month. Our average ticket size was around 60,000 rupees. So I needed to close deals with at least 5 clients. In my first 6 months, I could close only 2 lakhs per month on average. But then in the next 6 months, I could achieve around 3.25 lakhs per month. Then he continued his speaking and highlighted 2 things associated with his sales quota. He explained that to achieve these kind of revenue numbers, he learned how many clients he needed in his pipeline through different stages. Just to give a real picture, he threw some calculations and showed he needed meetings and follow-up with at least 30 clients per month, as his conversion rate was around 20%. Then he also mentioned that he struggled in the beginning because when enough clients were in the advanced stages of the pipeline, he mainly focused on closing them and was putting less time into prospecting, and that used to dry his pipeline. Also, initially, he was struggling to navigate through buying teams and decision makers. Now you can see the devil is in the details. Same question, completely different impact. Why? Because he didn't just talk about handling pressure. He showed it with numbers, insights, and actions, how he struggled, how he learned, and eventually how he performed. So next time you are asked about sales targets, don't just say, yes, I handle it and can handle the same in your company. Share a real experience with a solid metric. That's what they will remember. Okay, so you have passed the sales target question. Now here is what they may ask or assess you silently. Can this person actually hold a real sales conversation? Most candidates go wrong here. They think communication is just about talking smoothly, throwing in buzzwords, or describing product features and how great your offerings are. Let me tell you about a Zoom interview I took for a fintech B2B sales role. I asked the candidate, how would you explain this product to someone who has never used it before? She started going off about features. Our platform does XYZ, has an API, automates, blah blah blah. But then on the same day, we asked this to another candidate who was fresh out of college. He took a completely different approach. He smiled and said, "First, I would ask what tools they are using right now. Then I would ask what challenges they are facing. And only then would I explain how a platform can solve their problems." The hiring manager was also there. His eyes met mine, and it was a clear signal from him that this guy gets it. He listens first. So next time you are asked, how would you explain something or sell something? Don't just talk, ask questions. Understand the person's problem first. That is what good smart sellers do. Now, another thing that always gets evaluated is how, as a person, you take rejections. In sales, it happens a lot. But how do you handle it when things don't go your way? We were doing an interview with a guy, Mahesh, for an SDR role, and his main job was prospecting through calling. We asked Mahesh this question: "Tell me about a time when you felt rejected." He collected one of his experiences and articulated it well. He said one time he made a call to a logistic client. He was just opening his call, but the person on the other side blasted him and asked why he was calling during an important meeting. In anger, he also said some hurtful things that rather than wasting time selling to strangers, he should do something meaningful in his life. However, Mahesh was able to maintain his calm, apologized for interrupting the meeting, but at the same time, in just 2 lines, told him why he approached him. He said he would share more detail on email, and if it was not relevant to him, he could simply reply, and Mahesh would not disturb him again. What happened after that? The client responded, and this time he was respectful and even gave the reason that due to quarterly closing, he had a lot on his plate. A few weeks later, they had their first demo meeting. When he shared that story in his interview, guess what? He got the job. Rejection happens, but if you can stay calm, respectful, and persistent, that's what hiring managers want to see. So far, we discussed 3 things that hiring managers look for. Are you result driven and able to achieve a sales quota? Do you understand that selling is more about active listening and asking the right questions rather than speaking more? Are you able to handle rejections and be consistent in your approach? Now, let's talk about another quality that hiring managers always look for, and this is about coachability. This one is again very important because in B2B sales, you learn new things every day, whether it is a new prospecting tool or customer conversation. If you don't have the ability to learn and apply things and get out of your comfort zone, it will be very difficult for you to grow in B2B sales. I remember one particular incident where we were hiring for an inside sales executive whose job was to prepare a lead database and develop and run email campaigns on those leads. As part of the evaluation process, we invited shortlisted candidates in a group to do assignments where they had to build a sample database for a given company and also write emails for 2 leads by doing research on their companies and profiles. After they submitted their assignments, we evaluated and scored them and also added our remarks. And if they were rejected, we explained why. Now, when we sent this assignment evaluation to a girl named Karuna, who only had internship experience in email marketing, we did not select her because there were some obvious mistakes she had made. But unlike other rejected candidates, she did not just reply saying thank you. She reworked the entire assignment, incorporated our feedback, and shared it back. She also wrote this in her email. Since I did not have this kind of learning in my previous internship, I could not do this assignment properly. But I really enjoyed working on your feedback and learned a lot while redoing the assignment. She did what most experienced people don't do. She applied feedback in the right way and showed that she is coachable and sincere in learning. We shortlisted her for the next round of the job interview. So, you don't need to have all the answers, but being able to learn and adapt quickly is what sets you apart in your role in B2B sales. And finally, let's talk about team fit. Now, there is one last thing. Hiring managers are quietly checking. Can you fit into their team and culture? I remember a founder telling me after he closed one sales hiring, we have had smarter and more experienced applicants, but this guy, he made us feel good. Here is what happened. The guy he was talking about was just a fresher out of college. He had a very pleasant personality and a very positive outlook in general. The founder asked him tough questions like why he didn't get a job in his college placement. Why should he be considered for this role when already good experienced candidates are there to take this role for the same salary? He was able to answer these questions with honesty, calmness, and a touch of humor. And more importantly, he made the team feel like he already belonged there. Because in B2B sales, it's not just what you say, it is how you make people feel also counts a lot. Hiring managers want someone who is not just about their skills, but also someone who will fit into their team and culture. So be curious and warm. That's what gets you hired. Alright, so let's wrap up. In a B2B sales interview, the manager is quietly asking 5 questions. Can you handle sales targets without breaking a sweat? Can you listen, not just talk? Will you stay calm and consistent after rejection? Can you learn and adapt quickly? Will you fit into their team and culture? If you can show these qualities with real examples, real moments, you won't just get through the interview, you will make an impression that sticks. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 areas do you think you need to work on? Drop this in the comments and let's help each other grow. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share it with someone who is preparing for a B2B sales interview right now.